Nickel City Comic-Con starts today at the Buffalo Convention Center. You can meet a lot of famous figures like WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jim, good morning.
Well, good morning, but you know the first thing old Hacksaw Jim Duggan has to do is give a big ho! Kind of fires me up, you know, gets the blood flowing, especially for an old time early in the morning.
I think you just made a lot of people's day.
Well, I think everybody should start the day off with a good ho.
Now, listen, here's the deal. My producers are pretty good about screening for security, but I do notice that
Well, I bring my 2x4 wherever I go, because you never know when Hulk Hogan might show up. And Hogan, if you do, remember, have board, will travel.
All right, I'm checking. I don't see him over there. I think
he's a hard guy to miss, you know. But
hey, I'll have your back. I got this iPad.
Thank you, Scott. That'll work.
I'm right there with you. Listen, you're going to be at Nickel City Comic-Con, and people can come and meet you. And I'm wondering, what is the difference here between, you know, earlier in your career where you're out there at packed arenas and screaming fans? It's different now with people coming to see you and say, hey, you were a big part of my life.
Actually, it's humbling to have folks come up, and sometimes they have pictures of their mother. Sometimes they start crying, because back then it was a family affair.
Yeah.
They all come home from church. Don't step in front of the TV when Grammy's watching wrestling, you know, and people grew up watching wrestling. And, you know, I just did a charity event out in Wyoming, and all these top NBA stars are like, Hacksaw Duggan, I watched you when I was a kid. And it's nice to be remembered. It's actually humbling to be remembered, to have folks stand in line to come up to get an autograph.
Well, and it shows that you made a difference, and I think that's all any of us really want to do in life, right?
Well, it's nice. Of course, I joke, back then you didn't have 200 channels to choose from. You almost had to watch wrestling.
We deal with that.
But it's a great show. Like a Comic-Con's a great show. You know, the first time they asked me to do a Comic-Con, I was like, geez, I don't know. Now I'm like, it's a Comic-Con! You know, you see movie quality costumes, and then you see a kid with a box on his head. But everybody's having fun. There are a lot of fun at a Comic-Con. You see movie stars, wrestling stars, anime stars, something for everybody.
And that's the thing, you know, it's Comic-Con, and when these things started out, they were very much more kind of like comic book based, but at this point, I think you may as well call it a pop culture thought.
Yeah, it's really evolved into pop culture, and they're popular all over the world. We go all over the world and do Comic-Cons, and it's great to meet. I knew I made it when Henry Winkler went, Hacksaw Duggan. I'm like,
oh, that's a moment. That the Fonz. All right, well, listen, we have some information here for people how they can go to the Comic-Con. Jim is just one of the people you can meet there. We've got the details on the screen here. It goes all weekend, and we've got a link there for tickets. We'll have that on our website as well. It's all at the Buffalo Convention Center. Well, listen, I told you before, I wasn't a big wrestling kid growing up, but I definitely knew who you were, and I know who you are, and it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you very much. But, you know, before we go, you got to give me a ho. And if you're going to ho like you mean it, brother. Here we go, baby. Ho!
Did I nail
that
it?
was a good ho.
All right, I'm feeling good. That's going to get me into the weekend just right. We'll see if Mike can do that during his forecast.
All right, Mike, we're counting on you.
In just a moment.